Okay, I'm going to show you 10 different ways that you can use your behavior to influence the behavior of a child who's decided that they don't want to take part, that they're not going to follow the rules, and they are digging their heels in. The first thing, of course, is we've got to reframe. We see a child not behaving, and of course our emotional brain leaps to the number of other times they haven't behaved, and that might be typical of that student, or that might be the sign of the class in decline, society breaking up, whatever it might be. See it for what it is. Separate the behavior and the child. You're going to confront the behavior. You're not going to confront the personality of the child. Reframe in your own mind before you step in. Perhaps you can notice some positive behaviors. Perhaps as you walk in, the child turns to you and gives you eye contact. Thank them for that. Thank them for listening. Try and catch some of the positive behaviors as you start the interaction. Your reframing could change a difficult conversation into a very positive outcome. So the first thing you need to do is reframe. And then, of course, we need to move in. We need to go and speak to the student, to the child who's having difficulty. Many teachers make a classic mistake and they use what I might term looming. They move over to the child and they loom over the top of them. Of course, the best position is not standing above someone if you're trying to gain their compliance. The best position would be to get on your knees, or more realistically, grab a chair and sit next to them. By sitting side by side with the child, you begin to mirror gently their body language. Of course, you could turn inwards, but then you would appear to be a lot more threatening. In fact, everything about your body position here needs to send the signal to the child that you have not come here for an argument, that it's going to be all right, that you can help them and find a way out of their muddle, out of their frustration. The mirroring is not copying precisely what they're doing. You can imagine they might get a bit frustrated with that. The mirroring is gentle. It's relaxed. I don't need to eyeball the children in order to make sure they're paying me attention. And in fact, if I'm sitting side by side with the child, I can maintain my view on the rest of the students and ensure that this student does not get all of my attention for the next couple of minutes. So I've reframed, I'm mirroring. Of course, conversations don't go in straight lines. Just because I've done all of that right does not mean I'm going to get the right response from the child. I may need to walk away. Very often when you come and sit down and pull up a chair next to a student, you get a rude or irritated response. Now you need to decide whether that response you can work with and get beyond, or whether actually you need to say to the child, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away and I'm coming back in 1 minute when you've calmed down and I know that we can have an adult conversation about what's happening. Be prepared to walk away, to make the point that this conversation is going to be calm, it's going to be polite, and it's non-threatening. You can also influence the students' choices by reminding them of the routine, not by taking them to the filing cabinet and pulling out all the rules, but by having something immediate, something tactile, something they can look at, something visual, with icons rather than words only, and just gently remind them of the agreed behaviors, what we have agreed to do and how we've agreed to conduct ourselves. Of course, you may need to influence them by deal making, by offering a deal. If you find yourself being pushed into a cul-de-sac of yes, no, or yes, I am, and no, you're not, offer a deal. Do you want to make a deal? Sounds reasonable, sounds like you're moving towards their position, and then you can frame that deal however you want. Very often I'll say to students, look, I'll help you with the first 2 bits, I'll go away for a minute, you have a go at the next section, and I'll come back and help you at the end. How about that for a deal? And of course, I'm offering no more than any teacher offers, which is, have a go. If you need help, I'll come and help you out. So deal breakering or deal brokering can be a good way to influence students' choices. I will agree with the student. Here's another way to influence their behavior. When they disagree with me, I agree with them. I use phrases like, I understand what you're saying, I hear what you're saying, be that as it may, and then I bring them back to the conversation that we need to have. I'm not going to argue with my students. I'm going to say to them, I listen to you, I hear you, and I understand you. I'm going to give them a slice of belief, another way to influence their behavior. I'm going to make sure they know that I believe they're better than that, and that I can prove it because last week I caught them doing something better. I say to my students, I'm disappointed because you know what, last week I saw you engaging in this work. I saw you behaving, you were disciplined, you were well behaved, you did everything you were asked to do. I'm going to use that slice of belief now when they're feeling low to give their self-esteem a little boost and hope that actually that motivation might be enough to draw them back into what we are meant to be doing. I'm going to make sure my students feel important. I'm going to make sure they feel valued. I'm going to make sure that they've got enough of my time, but they haven't got disproportionately more because they were being poorly behaved. I'm going to give them attention and make them feel important for the right reasons. I'm also going to give them a touch of empathy. You know, I found it hard when I tried to do this. This is a tricky subject. Yeah, this is pretty boring, but actually some of the stuff we have to do is tricky and hard and dull. And finally, I'm going to be prepared to walk away quick. Actually, my intention here is to get in, deliver the message, and get out with the child's dignity intact and my dignity intact in less than a minute. If I can do that, I'm in a win-win situation. And so I am going to walk away at some point. I'm going to thank the child for listening, and I'm going to get out. And as I get out, I'm not going to turn back. I'm not going to stand over them and wait for them to change their behavior. Neither am I going to move across to the other side of the room and spy on them. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away even if they mutter as I'm walking. I'm going to walk away even if they whisper something to their friend as I walk away. Because if I turn back, they hook me in with those little secondary behaviors. They catch me just at the point where I've done the right thing. I've been assertive, I've been fair, I've shown some kindness, and I'm just walking away, and they hook you in. The little muttered swear word that you chase, the cap that goes back on, the smirk, the smile to their friend. Don't chase it, don't chase it, don't chase it. Clock it. Speak to the child later about it in private, but don't come back. Walk away and keep walking. If you need to come back in a minute, in 2 minutes. Give the child the chance to calm down from what actually has been quite a difficult conversation. So your 10 ways. You reframe. You mirror. You walk away if you need the conversation to be conducted with more politeness. You remind students of the routine. You use deal breaking. You agree with them. You use yes, I understand and yes, I know. You show a slice of belief in them. You make them feel important. You give them a touch of empathy, and then you walk away without turning back. You can't control the way children behave, but there are so many things that you can do with your own behavior to positively influence their choices and help them along the path that you're trying to guide them along.